I was watching Hank Green on YouTube. Hank is one of the two Vlogbrothers, his brother John being the other. And Hank was encouraging people in the United States to vote. More than that, he was encouraging them to register to vote. The only reason he could possibly think why anyone wouldn't register to vote and then exercise their franchise was, one, if they were under 18, and two, if they were unfortunate enough not to be American. Well, although I'm not American, I agreed with the thrust of what he said, and I really do think that his video ought to be encouraged viewing, certainly not compulsory, but encouraged viewing for everybody who lives in one of the Western democracies. He looked at the reasons people often give for not voting. Some people say there's no point voting because big business runs it all. Well, as Hank Green said, big business has no votes at all. I have one. You have one. Each of us has one. Even the most powerful people in this nation and in his nation have only one vote each. I live in a district that has just short of 80,000 people living in it, 80,000 people, and each of us has one vote. We can make a significant difference if we vote. We can make no difference if we decide to abstain from voting, shrug our shoulders and pass on the responsibility to everybody else. In fact, if we don't vote, we make the votes of those with whom we disagree more valuable than they need to be. It seems likely that in a couple of years from now, there will be an opportunity for folk who live in Scotland to vote on whether or not they want to remain part of the United Kingdom, whether or not they want to leave the UK and become an independent nation. If you don't vote, you cannot influence the outcome of that debate. You cannot influence the outcome of that referendum. If you do vote, then you take part in an historic opportunity to lay the foundations for the next part of your nation's journey. What are you going to do? Are you going to shrug your shoulders and say it makes no difference? Or are you going to take part and own your share of the outcome of the referendum? Whether you're for independence or against it, whether you're for remaining in the United Kingdom or against it, for goodness sake, vote. Rant is nearly over. Don't allow anyone to tell you that this whole thing has been stitched up by big business. Big business has no vote. Don't allow anyone to tell you it's been stitched up by the banks. They don't have any votes between them. Don't let anyone tell you that it's been stitched up in advance by politicians. They only have one vote each. This is a situation in which the whole nation is empowered. We are enfranchised. We have the opportunity in our hands, either to take the nation of which we are part and of which we are proud out of the United Kingdom, if that's what the majority want, or to secure a future for our nation in the United Kingdom, if that's what the majority want. And there's the key, you see. This isn't a matter of anybody else. This is a matter of all of us and each of us expressing our view, and then our view being measured against the views of others, so that when all of the votes have been counted, everybody who's been to the polls has expressed their view. The view expressed by the majority will prevail. And if there are people who have a view but who do not vote, well, their view won't be counted. This really is crunch time. If you're not already registered to vote, then make sure that when the next voter registration papers come through your door, you fill them in, you send them back to the registrar, and that way you secure for yourself a franchise in one of the most important votes that will ever in your lifetime be conducted in Scotland. If I'm still alive when the opportunity comes round in 2014 to take part in this referendum, I will be voting. How am I going to vote? Well, I think I have already made up my mind, but I'm going to listen to the arguments, and in any case, I'm not going to tell you how I intend to vote. What I want you to do is to think about it for yourself. What I want you to do is take part in the referendum. What I want you to do is not abandon your right, not give away your franchise, not sacrifice this opportunity to lay the foundations for your children, for your grandchildren, for your great-grandchildren. And if you want to question my right to speak to you in this way, then I'll gladly acknowledge this is not a gospel issue. There is nothing in the Bible that says that Scotland should be independent, and there is nothing in the Bible that says that Scotland should be part of the United Kingdom. This is a view that we have to form for ourselves. I've always been struck that when Jesus delivered perhaps his most difficult teaching, he finished by saying, "If you have ears, then hear." And I take this to mean, if you've heard me, well, go work out for yourself what you should do now. If you have been, thank you for listening, and vote. I'm going to put down here somewhere a link to Hank Green's video. I really don't care very much whether you agree with what he says about politics, whether you agree with what he says about the United States, whether you agree with anything he says except this one thing. Voting gives you a chance to have your say in the affairs of your nation. There are people in the world who would dearly love to have the opportunity that many people in our nation and in his nation will simply let slip through their fingers. Don't let it be you. Not this time.